Hello. Welcome to Outreach with Reggie. I'm your host, Reggie Holloway. And first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing this podcast. That being if you're someone new or someone that's returning, I thank you for spending this time with me today. And if you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow. Follow the podcast on all streaming platforms. With that being said, as we go into today is the season 2 finale of Outreach with Reggie. Now, in order to cover what we did in season 2, we have to look at what we did in season 1 and how it was a contrast, but things have remained the same. So, the overall theme in season 1, for the most part, as we talked about leadership, youth leadership, and different areas within confronting things of the community that we could be a part of and have a healthy discussion over. Those were the topics that we covered within season 1. Things like the importance of public broadcasting, activism and social impact, youth leadership, food deserts and mental health activism in Black communities. Is college still worth it? The importance of a bachelor's degree. Is it needed or is it not? DEI and the importance of DEI, the future of DEI. Policing ourselves, understanding when systems fail you. Black-led solutions, Black-led social justice solutions, to correct myself. Social justice regarding urban development. Policy, transforming activism into social impact. These were the topics that were within season 1. And if you haven't listened to any of those episodes, I would strongly suggest that you do so now. But I wanted to do something different within season 2. Season 2 provided itself to be more of a deeper conversation. As in, while it's important to be a part of your community, and while there are several ways to be a part of community, you can't show up for community or the communities that you want to be a part of. You can't be present in the spaces that you want to advocate for. You can't be there for the people who you want to advocate for if you can't do it for self first. You are your first advocate. And while you're everything to everybody, with a lot on your plate, you got to check on yourself every once in a while. So season 2 was just about that. We opened season 2 with just reflecting what we do in real life, what I do in real life, which is being a youth and social justice advocate. But then kind of pouring into more. What does life look like after college? When Christmas feels heavy, navigating holiday grief. What to do when home isn't safe? When you have a chosen family versus a regular family? Faith without uncertainty, or just navigating belief. Amid doubt and spiritual uncertainty, being burnt out, the cost of caring too much while you're being an advocate or showing up in these spaces, and why success may feel empty in a lot of those spaces. As you achieve the goals that you have set forth, why does it feel so lonely? After foster care, talking about the foster care housing crisis currently, or within that episode. Being frozen in time, our 2-parter, being frozen in time, how trauma disrupts your life, and being frozen in trauma. And the second part to that, being after survival, after the trauma goes away. Being Black on both sides, Black identity, navigating code switching and success as a Black human being. Along with that, expressing what if success doesn't heal you, defining success and defining why success is such a optimal thing, what you will deem success and why you deem it success, and what do you believe that it will do. Along with that, we had an interview with somebody, um, Laura Spallet, about finding clarity in chaos, having a healthy conversation about navigating relationships, motherhood, abuse, and broken systems. And lastly, within our last episode, we talked about addiction, breaking the cycle of trauma and recovery. These are things where within season 2, I wanted to clearly give an insight into sparking more conversations to be had about the things that we must confront within ourselves before we're able to confront these systems head on. As we challenge the systems that are already in place, we have to challenge the systems that we participate in every day. Checking the person in the mirror, confronting the things that we may not have the language for, and realizing that it's okay not to have it in a day. Something that I learned within taking therapy is that grief, success in healing, none of that is linear, right? It's like a roller coaster. Some days you feel like you'll have it, and other days you feel like you won't, and that's okay. So as we talked about life after college, a lot of time people feel like college is the end all be all. After you graduate, then what? Do you pursue more? Is the answer to achieve higher education? Do you feel like you lose your community? The communities that we advocate for, is it lost upon us as time goes forward? The quarter life crisis, a lot of those are real things, real questions, and the misconception that things end when college is over. And the navigation of that. And learning that within doing that episode, I believe a lot of friends who I've talked to about it realize that there is life after college. You do find bigger communities, better communities, that being within your alumni, within just finding ways to be a part of things that are going on in your community, Eventbrite, or just finding people that like the same things that you like, or want to help within the same causes that you want to help in, to help their community in the way that they see fit, in a beautiful way, in a healthy way. I believe when I did Christmas Feels Heavy, or Navigating Holiday Grief, this came at a time where it was Christmas. And it's easy to talk about when how Christmas can be fun. And Christmas looks like family, but a lot of people don't have family. And while that is true, we must navigate these things on how to make Christmas your own. And realizing that as grief is not a linear path to healing, I believe giving yourself grace, the gift of grace, finding peace. That episode was probably one of my favorite episodes. Funny enough, one of the higher episodes that got a lot of love was the next one, which was Chosen Family. Chosen Family. What to do when home isn't safe. Because it wasn't to completely disregard the institution of family or not to express its importance. It was to highlight its importance. And sometimes the luxury of having a family of your own isn't there. Sometimes we are forced to confront family trauma, childhood trauma, and although conversations like that require time and patience, sometimes enough family is what you make it. Family is a beautiful thing to where we can understand that family doesn't always look like mom and dad, no matter if we like it to be, no matter how much we want it to be. Sometimes family looks like a friend, a mentor, or just someone that opens a space that allows us to be our most authentic self. And as I say that now, I hope and pray that you find that. But I thank you for everyone who's listened to that particular episode. Then we talked about faith without certainty. That more so was not to disparage or disregard the institution of church, not in the slightest. It was meant to help people navigate church hurt, navigate as you participate in systems you believe. It's important to hold the accountability there for when people do hurt you. And some people, more often than enough, have been hurt by church. But as we recognize that there is hurt everywhere, that we must keep our eyes focused on what to take in as what we may believe that what we may punish ourselves for and something that we did not deserve. But it's simply, that episode was to navigate the system, the institution of church, in a healthy way. Being burnt out, spoke keenly about at a time where DFACS in Georgia had an $85 million budget deficit surrounding the child welfare system. And I remember writing that and speaking about that. And I wanted to highlight how much the advocates, the case managers, case workers, and anybody that's involved in the child welfare system, how much of a load that they carry. So as I talked about that, that was a beautiful thing to talk about, but it's something to remind those who are not even in the child welfare space that there is a cost of caring too much without keeping yourself in check. Why Success Feels Empty was another good episode that I love to do. And that one pretty much goes into where we make goals. Those who make goals about having a New Year's resolution, as this was in early January. Those who have ambitions and why fear may succumb to them. They may try to take over what they want to do. Understanding what success is and how we define our success and why we define it in such a way. Why we do things, why we go to college, why do we get these high-paying jobs? If we find it to be to make abundance of money, then why is money the line, the ladder to what we may deem success. Not to say that success falls in line with money and that money is bad, that the things that we chase are bad, but it really is to ask the question why. And what do you deem as success? So as we looked at that, we talked about the housing crisis within the state of Georgia, along with foster care. What happens when foster care ends? The housing crisis surrounding foster care within the HUD vouchers. And I did that because a lot of people don't know about the HUD vouchers regarding foster care and that they're there for the youth. But as we advocate, and as have advocated and spoken for regarding housing rights, it's important we have conversations like that regarding HUD vouchers, housing vouchers, regarding making sure that as youth who are transitioning out of care have all the rights that they need before they go, so we can save a life and make sure that we are doing right by the communities that we serve. Along with that, within the next topic that we discussed was being frozen in time. This was around the time where the 2026 versus 2016 trend was going around, and I was like, imagine how many people never got to see past 2016. Some people are stuck in 2016. Some are just stuck in the past. Love the nostalgia factor. But for others, a very traumatic experience may make them say, forget 2016. But that's the strife. But that episode, writing that was one of my favorite episodes as well, because no one talks about how trauma freezes you in a moment. But which follows the next episode is after survival, after the trauma ends, now what? And that's where this is around the time where I actually started therapy. And I'll be doing an episode starting season 3 or in the beginning of season 3 about therapy. But talking about how healing starts and learning to trust in healing. That was a very important episode because a lot of people focus on how to confront trauma. Oftentimes enough, talking about trauma, how to treat trauma, how to love trauma, not love trauma, but how to love to the healing factor within trauma. It's very important. But as we go further into that, it's the mindfulness to know that it's the mindfulness to know that there is a life after the storm goes away. So as I talk about that, we went into, as Black History Month was going on, I wanted to dedicate 2 episodes, that being Black on Both Sides. Of course, one of my favorite albums is by the same title by Mos Def, but just navigating Black identity, right? Because one, funny enough, I wanted to do an episode on, is Black History Month still celebrated? But I feel like there was a little bit more depth to what we could have talked about. And that is simply that what does it mean to truly be Black, and how to navigate being Black when you're entering systems like the ones you're advocating for. And as the higher you may go, the lest you may feel out of touch. And while we punish the success of this successful Black man or Black woman or Black person, those were the conversations I wanted to have around that. And of course, if success doesn't heal you, then what will? Because who are you without success? Who are you without the titles, the awards, the money, the recognition? That was my favorite episode of season 2. Searching, digging within self. What would success mean? Is it a lifeline? Do you believe achieving the things that you're after provides a sense of peace, or searching for belonging, or are you searching for rest? And then as we went forward, finding clarity within chaos, meaning how you navigate, being able to navigate, finding peace when your world is surrounded with chaos. Everything that may not be okay, and learning that that's okay, and learning that there's only a few things that you can change that are within your control, and then ultimately finding your why. I loved being able to interview Laura Spalley of the Clarity Lens podcast, and if you haven't listened to them already, please do. But just being able to have an honest and raw conversation, that was important to me to have. And I'm happy that God was able to allow there to be a space for it to be held. And then lastly, understanding addiction. I feel like within writing that episode, I had another episode in mind, but I'll pocket it because it's actually very fruitful in what we plan to do, what I plan to do, what we're going to plan to do together. That being me, the host, and you, the listener, of how we're going to shape season 3, but understanding addiction. And I was looking at this because oftentimes enough, we tend to misunderstand our homelessness population. Along with that, just being in the heart of a metropolitan area, I feel like there's a big misconception to what leads a person to homelessness, what leads a person to drugs, or what leads this person to addiction. And realizing that addiction doesn't look like one simple thing. Actually realizing that there's a plethora of things that looks like addiction that we treat as normalcy. But ultimately, the reason why I framed season 2 the way I did within all the topics I talked about is that it's great. It's wonderful to talk about from a standpoint of how to show up in a governmental sense, how to be there, know about each policy that you can do, what to do, how to do. Be informed about your politicians and be deeper informed of how you can show up at your city hall. All of that's great. But 9 times out of 10, if you're carrying hurt in any capacity from things that you haven't talked about in 5, 10, 15 years, if you're questioning your identity, if you have loved ones that you care about that you just don't know how you can be there for them, that is what season 2 was written for. In its entirety, season 2 carried the full scale of what it meant regarding the mission statement of having these uncomfortable conversations. Season 2 is how we prepare for season 1, how we show up publicly, is a reflection of how we prepare privately. You may be a success to this world and have millions of things that you're attached to, that you're fighting for, and I commend you for those things. But it is equally as important, if not double the amount of effort that you must make privately, intimately, with the people that you love and care about. So, as we wrap up season 2 today, and I apologize at the time of this recording, it is well past the release time on a Friday, but we released it on Friday. I believe season 3, I'm going to mix it. We will go back to the roots of advocating for the communities that we show up for. And yes, that means talking more and more about foster care. But also we will mix it with then talking more and more about conversations that go unnoticed, untalked about, that need a little bit talking to. And as we enter season 3, I won't be taking a month-long break. Actually, you'll be seeing me next week as we're going to go right into it. But I really want you to tell me. Leave a comment. Express. If you like an episode, tell me. And if you don't like an episode, tell me. Because this is a community. This is the spark to have conversations that you realize no one else is having. Not no one else is like, I'm the only podcaster that's talking about this. No, I'm far, far from it. I think more so within your family. Why don't we hang out with this person anymore? Why don't we confront the thing that happened 20 summers ago? Why does it feel like I'm alone? Those topics are what we're going to bring in. So it's going to be a mix. It's going to be a blend of the two. How you navigate advocacy in total, from a personal, private place, along with a professional place. And that's what matters. So season 3 is coming real soon, next week. But as we talk about that, I want to say thank you. I don't know the full importance of this podcast quite yet. But every time you show me, every time you guys allow me to create this space for you guys, you allow me to keep going, to further ask these questions, for further conversations to be held. And if you want to come on the podcast and have these conversations more and more, then let me know and we will. But with that being said, thank you for your time. This is the end of season 2. We are 28 episodes in. Can you believe that? 28 episodes in, and we're growing. So as we do that, I say thank you. I appreciate you. And as we end today's episode, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow this podcast at Outreach with Reggie on every podcast platform that you listen to. And be sure to share with every loved one, every person that you know, because we're growing. We're growing consistently. And I can't wait to see you next time. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your love. My name is Reggie Holloway, and I say thank you. Take care.